So you asked around our compliance with the Mayor's Transport Strategy target of 80% of all journeys to be made by walking and cycling. Of course, that includes public transport as well in terms of that target. It is our aim. The Games, of course, set a strong precedent for that, and so we're in a fairly strong position in any case, because our aim was that 100% of all spectators were derived by foot, on bike and by public transport, and we have that significant advantage of a fantastic transport hub. And so the Mayor's target has been specifically embedded within the recent changes to our local plan, and that is underway and due to go to EIP, examination in public, next year to be adopted. Of course, we already have quite sharply reduced parking targets on the park for residential development. I'll talk a little bit about those. The highways and transport authorities, though, carry the main responsibility for meeting those targets outside the park boundary in terms of the wider LLDC responsibility. We work closely with them on transport, including walking and cycling. We harness cash from SIL and Section 106 to put towards those initiatives. And just on the residential car parking, by way of example, in practice we deliver well below the London plan targets for car parking spaces. I just wanted to give you an example there. On Eastwick, for example, the current policy would allow 176 car parking spaces. What we're actually delivering is 93 and 560 cycle spaces for 302 homes. So that's quite good actually compared to policy, and we're quite pleased with how we've managed to move that on.
Okay, thank you. So really want to pick up on some of the highways and roads stuff. So I visited the Olympic Park a couple of weeks ago and saw a lot of really big hostile main roads and dual carriageways which were very difficult to cross on foot and unpleasant to cycle along. I also saw the LLDC are in the process of taking out a pedestrian and cycle route to put in the new north-south highway. So what it feels like is the park is actually being opened up to more cars and vehicle traffic and a bit closed off to those everyday journeys by people walking and cycling. So if you want to meet the 80% target, how will you design out traffic increases in the Olympic Park and when these new roads are being put in?
Yes, so the design aspects of that particular road that's going in at the moment is part of the Eastwick and Sweetwater development I think that you're referring to. It will include the cycle improvements, and it is part of that design piece in terms of that new highway, which is going in specifically there.
The thing is, I gather that there's just an advisory cycle lane on that road, and really there's tons of space. You could have proper protected cycle lanes there, and I'm sure Sir Peter knows from his time at TfL that a dotted painted line on the road just doesn't keep people safe enough. So is that something that you'll look at, actually asking them to put in?
Can I take that away, Caroline, because I don't have the details here for that particular one.
That's absolutely fantastic, thank you. I also saw on my recent visit bike lanes that just vanished at crossings or even in the middle of a busy road. There was cycle parking that was actually installed on a cycle lane, making the cycle lane unusable. So great to have cycle parking, but not if it's actually on the cycle lane. And then there was vehicle access to a 2-bay car park by a new building that had pedestrian signals on the pavement. So just to walk along the pavement, you had to stop and press 2 buttons and wait for 2 green man signals just in order to walk along the pavement. So my question is, I wonder what guidance you're giving to developers who are building on the site, and do you offer them guidance explicitly in line with Healthy Streets objectives?
So we do, and the Healthy Streets objectives are part of our design standards. They are embedded in the design standards.
Yes, it's good to hear that that's coming in.
So there are a few examples of what we do. For example, we think our neighbourhoods are pedestrian and cycle friendly. We have seating and rest points and so on. I think your specific points need addressing. If I can take them away and have a look at them,
I'll send you through the details after this meeting. Have you thought about, and would you do an audit of some kind of these, the stuff that's already been built, to check that it fits with your aspirations
I'm
for
happy to do
healthy
that.
streets.
Yes, of course.
That would be fantastic, because I think you'll find there are some easy fixes to be made.
Good.
And then in terms of new schemes and developments and giving planning permission, you've mentioned the Sweetwater development, which is quite tricky in terms of healthy streets. And also there's the target that the Mayor has of that 70% of Londoners will live within 400 metres of the London-wide strategic cycle network. Will you make sure that any planning permission that gets given is compliant with what's in the Mayor's transport strategy?
We will, yes.
That's marvellous. And I've not got a lot of time left, but do you know what the modal share is for people not arriving as spectators, but just people coming to the Olympic Park from the boroughs around? How easy are people finding it to actually access the park?
I have the figures for the modal share in the framework travel plans, but I don't have the figures for people actually coming along to the park in front of me. So a similar question was asked as a written question, and a response has been prepared. But that's a different question you're asking there, Caroline, around specific visitors.
How many people are actually cycling onto the Olympic Park?
I don't have those here today, but again,
to get there. Would you work with the boroughs to improve the connectivity by bike?
Yes, of course.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. I think I'm out of time.
Okay.